poem can't take the place of a plum or an apple, but just as a painting can recreate, by illusion, the dimension it loses by being confined to canvas, so a poem, by its own system of illusions, can set up a rich and apparently living world within its particular limits. Most of the poems I am going to introduce in the next minutes attempt to recreate, in their own way, definite situations and landscapes. They are, quite emphatically, about the things of this world. When I say this world, I include, of course, such feelings as fear and despair and barrenness, as well as domestic love and delight in nature. These darker emotions may well put on the masks of quite unworldly things, such as ghosts or trolls or antique gods. The first poem I am going to read borrows its title from a painting by Giorgio de Chirico, The Disquieting Muses. All through the poem, I have in mind the enigmatic figures in this painting. 3 terrible, faceless dressmakers' dummies in classical gowns, seated and standing in a weird, clear light that casts the long, strong shadows characteristic of de Chirico's early work. The dummies suggest a 20th century version of other sinister trios of women, the 3 Fates, the witches in Macbeth, De Quincey's Sisters of Madness. The Disquieting Muses. Mother, mother, what ill-bred aunt, or what disfigured and unsightly cousin did you so unwisely keep, unasked to my christening, that she sent these ladies in her stead, with heads like darning eggs, to nod and nod and nod at foot and head, and at the left side of my crib? Mother, who made to order stories of Mixie Blackshort, the heroic bear. Mother, whose witches always, always got baked into gingerbread, I wonder whether you saw them, whether you said words to rid me of those 3 ladies, nodding by night around my bed, mouthless, eyeless, with stitched bald head. In the hurricane, when father's 12 study windows bellied in like bubbles about to break, you fed my brother and me cookies and Ovaltine, and helped the 2 of us to choir, Thor is angry, boom, 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 Thor is angry, we don't care. But those ladies broke the panes. When on tiptoe the schoolgirls danced, blinking flashlights like fireflies and singing the glowworm song, I could not lift a foot in the twinkle dress, but, heavy-footed, stood aside in the shadow cast by my dismal-headed godmothers, and you cried and cried, and the shadows stretched, the lights went out. Mother, you sent me to piano lessons and praised my arabesques and trills, although each teacher found my touch oddly wooden, in spite of scales and the hours of practicing, my ear tone-deaf and, yes, unteachable. I learned elsewhere from muses unhired by you, dear mother. I woke one day to see you, mother, floating above me in bluest air, on a green balloon bright with 1,000,000 flowers and bluebirds that never were, never, never found anywhere. But the little planet bobbed away like a soap bubble as you called, "Come here." And I faced my traveling companions. Day now, night now, at head, side, feet, they stand their vigil in gowns of stone, faces blank as the day I was born, their shadows long in the setting sun that never brightens or goes down. And this is the kingdom you bore me to, mother, mother, but no frown of mine will betray the company I keep. Here is a poem about a woman in love with order and all that is formal in the world. She would prefer, if she had the choice, a picture or a painting of the sea rather than the sea itself, because she finds motion, untidiness, and chaos too upsetting. This poem explores her tendency towards spinsterhood and shows the neat disease setting in. Spinster. Now this particular girl, during a ceremonious April walk with her latest suitor, found herself of a sudden intolerably struck by the birds' irregular babble and the leaves' litter. By this tumult afflicted, she observed her lover's gestures unbalance the air, his gait stray uneven through a rank wilderness of fern and flower. She judged petals in disarray, the whole season sloven. How she longed for winter then, scrupulously austere in its order of white and black, ice and rock, each sentiment within border, and heart's frosty discipline exact as a snowflake. But here a burgeoning unruly enough to pitch her 5 queenly wits into vulgar motley. A treason not to be borne. Let idiots real giddy in Bedlam's spring. She withdrew neatly, and round her house she set such a barricade of barb and check against mutinous weather as no mere insurgent man could hope to break with curse, fist, threat, or love either. The next poem is a monologue. I imagine the landscape of Parliament Hill Fields in London, seen by a person overwhelmed by an emotion so powerful as to color and distort the scenery. The speaker here is caught between the old and the new year, between the grief caused by the loss of a child and the joy aroused by the knowledge of an older child safe at home. Gradually the first images of blankness and absence give way to images of convalescence and healing, as the woman turns, a bit stiffly and with difficulty, from her sense of bereavement to the vital and demanding part of her world which still survives. Parliament Hill Fields. On this bald hill the new year hones its edge. Faceless and pale as china, the round sky goes on minding its business. Your absence is inconspicuous. Nobody can tell what I lack. Gulls have threaded the river's mud bed back to this crest of grass. Inland they argue, settling and stirring like blown paper or the hands of an invalid. The wan sun manages to strike such tin glints from the linked ponds that my eyes wince and brim. The city melts like sugar. A crocodile of small girls, knotting and stopping, ill-assorted in blue uniforms, opens to swallow me. I'm a stone, a stick. One child drops a barrette of pink plastic. None of them seem to notice. Their shrill, gravelly gossips funneled off. Now silence after silence offers itself. The wind stops my breath like a bandage. Southward over Kentish town, an ashen smudge swaddles roof and tree. It could be a snowfield or a cloud bank. I suppose it's pointless to think of you at all. Already your dull grip lets go. The tumulus, even at noon, guards its black shadow. You know me less constant, ghost of a leaf, ghost of a bird. I circle the writhen trees. I am too happy. These faithful dark-bowed cypresses brood, rooted in their heaped losses. Your cry fades like the cry of a gnat. I lose sight of you on your blind journey, while the heath grass glitters and the spindling rivulets unspool and spend themselves. My mind runs with them, pooling in heel prints, fumbling pebble and stem. The day empties its images like a cup or a room. The moon's crook whitens, thin as the skin seeming a scar. Now, on the nursery wall, the blue night plants, the little pale blue hill in your sister's birthday picture start to glow. The orange pompons, the Egyptian papyrus light up. Each rabbit-eared blue shrub behind the glass exhales an indigo nimbus, a sort of cellophane balloon. The old dregs, the old difficulties take me to wife. Gulls stiffen to their chill vigil in the draughty half-light. I enter the lit house. In this last poem, The Stones, the speaker has utterly lost her sense of identity and relationship to the world. She imagines herself, quite graphically, undergoing the process of rebirth, like a statue that has been scattered and ground down, only to be resurrected and pieced together centuries later. Her nightmare vision of waking in a modern hospital gradually softens as she recovers and accepts the frightening yet necessary ties of love which will heal and return her, whole again, to the world. The Stones. This is the city where men are mended. I lie on a great anvil. The flat blue sky circle flew off like the hat of a doll when I fell out of the light. I entered the stomach of indifference, the wordless cupboard. The mother of pestles diminished me. I became a still pebble. The stones of the belly were peaceable, the headstone quiet, jostled by nothing. Only the mouth-hole piped out, importunate cricket in a quarry of silences. The people of the city heard it. They hunted the stones, taciturn and separate, the mouth-hole crying their locations. Drunk as a fetus, I suck at the paps of darkness. The food tubes embrace me, sponges kiss my lichens away. The jewel-master drives his chisel to pry open one stone eye. This is the after-hell. I see the light. A wind unstoppers the chamber of the ear, old worrier. Water mollifies the flint lip, and daylight lays its sameness on the wall. The grafters are cheerful, heating the pincers, hoisting the delicate hammers. A current agitates the wires, volt upon volt. Catgut stitches my fissures. A workman walks by, carrying a pink torso. The storerooms are full of hearts. This is the city of spare parts. My swaddled legs and arms smell sweet as rubber. Here they can doctor heads or any limb. On Fridays the little children come to trade their hooks for hands. Dead men leave eyes for others. Love is the uniform of my bald nurse. Love is the bone and sinew of my curse. The vase, reconstructed, houses the elusive rose. 10 fingers shape a bowl for shadows. My mendings itch. There is nothing to do. I shall be good as new.